Hello, Mr. Fred Bean. It's nice to see you. I've seen your work, your past performances, really good times, enjoyable. But I'm here for the BIPOC community team to discuss how we can make improvements for the Wisconsin education community. How did you feel in the previous meeting? Was everything okay? It was great. It's a lot of information in 1 hour. Oh, yeah, it was. But I was doing what I was requested to do. And I made selections from my previous performances to fit the audience because Wisconsin, the area here, it's a different environment. And I wanted to give them a taste of what it was like to be deaf Black, so they can get an idea of different cultures from others. And I'm sure everyone has their stories. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree. Some stories are of traumatic experiences, and some stories are very successful. There's quite a variety. We want to let people know about my experience as Black deaf, and that doesn't mean that all of our experiences are 100% the same, but just so they can relate. Oh, yeah, that's right. I agree. I know you mentioned a little bit about yourself in the previous Zoom meeting. Do you mind telling us more about yourself? I know you talked about your experiences with performing and dancing, but specifically, we'd like to know as BIPOC, can you explain more in detail what it was like when you were a kid? Okay, yes, I'll explain about my educational background. Okay. I went to school, I learned as oral in school, and that was till the first grade. Then I went to a class where there were more deaf, but we were surrounded by a large hearing environment. And really, there wasn't a lot of signing. They weren't very skilled in signing because it was mostly oral. And that was the thing for the era we were in. I was born around the 60s. Oh, wow. And that was before ADA laws were set up. There was no caption, no interpreters, nothing like that. So it was like that until I was in the seventh grade. And I went to a class where there was all hearing, and I was the only deaf student in this class. They moved me because the teacher was like, he's too advanced. And you know why? Because my parents were both teachers. Oh, wow. I felt like my life was 24 hours in school continuously. I would go to school and I'd learn all day. Then I'd come home and my parents were like, come sit down. And they would start going over more things with me because they taught in school too. My father was a music teacher and my mother was an elementary school teacher. They were all, in the civil rights movement. And they believed that you had to work a blue collar job. They didn't believe in the arts, but anyway, as I was saying, I was in that class until the seventh grade, and my parents thought, oh yeah, I could do it. But there was no interpreter, and I was just sitting in class looking around. I had other deaf students in my homeroom class, and I would enjoy talking with them until I had to go back to class. And it was that way until I graduated high school, which I graduated with honors. Oh, wow. And the reason I graduated with honors was because from the 7th to the 12th grade, it was the same group of kids. We went all the way through together. And they knew me. I was blessed because had I been sent to a different school, I would have been lost. And the reason for that is when you know your classmate, if I wasn't looking at the teacher and they called my name, a friend would let me know that the teacher was calling me, and I would look up to see what they were saying. I was blessed to have that kind of support. And again, that was before the ADA laws were set up with no caption, there was no interpreters being provided. So after I graduated, I wanted to go to a deaf school and a deaf college. It was because of my identity. So I went to National Technical Institute for the Deaf, NTID, in Rochester, New York. Things worked well there, and I got my degree in electrical engineering. In NTID, I finally had interpreters, even though we had deaf teachers who signed. And so I continued learning ASL. And I earned my bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. I know I'm off topic about the drama, but my parents were watching me. And so I went on and I worked as a teacher at MSD for a few years. I was teaching a few subjects, but mostly it was related to math. And after school, I started teaching dance. So I was doing both of them. At night, I was performing full time and I was traveling around doing different productions. So during the day, I was teaching different subjects, and at night, I was doing the performances. I was doing both the arts and the engineering, which works both sides of the brain, the creative side and the logic side. My mind would just be going, going, going until I worked for NTID as an outreach coordinator at Sunshine 2.0 Theater. I set a performance related to science, technology, engineering, and math, but I used performing arts by including it in the context, and it worked. It matched my degree and my experience. And so those professions merged and became one. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Wow, that's amazing to see the teachers, your parents who were teachers, help you as you were mainstream and all the support you received in your background education. That's really important. That is so good. You have such a rich history with the experiences you've had. Wow, beautiful. All right, next question. Who was your role model? Who did you look up to? Was it your grandmother? Was there anyone else that you looked up to? In my family, my role model was my grandma. She wouldn't let me think about being deaf. It was no pity. She was like, go get it, do it. And that was fine with me. But my parents were like, deaf can't do this or that. I really had to fight to break that belief about deaf people. They didn't know any better. But my grandmother's like, that doesn't matter because everyone is normal. Now, my other role model was a deaf person named Andrew Foster. He changed the world. He set up schools in Africa. And I can relate to him because when my dance group travels, we change the world. And also Linwood Smith, he wrote expressive poems and he was Black deaf. I write plays and express stories about signing or through signing, and I can relate to him. Those are my main three role models. Now I have others, like Michael Jackson. I was fascinated with him. Everyone loves him. Oh yeah, he was another role model. But my grandmother, Andrew Foster, and Lyndon Smith were the ones I really admired. Yes, of course, of course. You looked up to them. Amazing. Third question. What's your best strength to help you grasp success? What does that look like today? That's one question. And the next part of that question is, are there any barriers where you are right now? And I know that's a big question. Well, my strength is that if there are any barriers, don't let that stop you. Oh, right, right. In other words, don't wait. You don't wait for somebody else to give you opportunities. Get it, grasp it. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. For example, I don't know if you watched some of my show where I was explaining about barriers in performing, and I really wanted to perform, but I was being told no. They were telling me no. So I created my own one-man show. I also set up educational theater storytelling for children in sign language. I would set it up and I would set this up and establish that, and people were astonished. Another role in the back end, I decided to write a play and add a Black deaf character. I'd set up invisible hands. And that was a promotion for BIPOC, for people in that community to get involved. Like, come, here's an opportunity to train and develop. I also set up leadership in theater arts for deaf and hard of hearing people. And those people got involved and they took off and shined brightly. I don't know if you ever heard of DJ Suppley. He set up busboy and poets for the deaf. It's like ASL Slam. He's in Washington, D.C., and he learned from our program. And another man, Earl, he set up Curator. He's Terry Earl, and he's a curator of Black deaf art works. And he really went wide. He really did good. And he would design Black art, deaf art. And he was also from our program. And do you know Howard Fox, the comedian? He was in my program. Oh, he came in so motivated. He moved to California and took off. So I'm just naming a few people who were in my program. They took off and made and had great achievements. We just need to give a space to grow, to evaluate them. And when they're ready, you just go on out there. What is my strength? Don't let people stop you. Don't give up. No matter what they say, just do it. Here's my perspective. When there's a problem, I don't look at it as a problem. I look at it as a challenge. Right. And what that means, if it's a challenge, I think, what am I going to do to overcome this challenge? And that attitude is from my grandmother. She would just tell me, go do it. And I was like, I have to do it. My mom would say, no. Telling me no, I pushed that out the way. You can't tell me no. I was stubborn. I wanted to succeed. I wouldn't accept that and say, okay, fine. And that's one of my strengths. Oh, beautiful. And a good example of you being stubborn, which wasn't in a bad way, but it was good. It made you determined to go on. All right, number 4. As a big BIPOC person, how do you explain successful? And how do you explain valuable to people in our community? Really, to be successful, you can't do that alone. Oh, exactly. You hit the nail on the head. To be successful, you must be surrounded with people who support you, or be a part of an organization that promote BIPOC culture and give that support and that encouragement. 2 big things I believe in. The most important thing, the core of it, is education and parents. Oh, yes. Parents, they must know what's really out there. If parents know what's out there, what's available, they'll give their child a better life. So that's number 1. If they don't know, well, number 2, having people around you that will support you, like schools. I know there are many schools, they won't make changes, not really, not 100%. They'll just make little changes here and there. It must be required to have BIPOC role models in the classroom, not in the dorm, in the classroom, so students can see and relate. When I was a teacher and I came in, Black kids was like, whoa, their mouth would drop open because they had never seen a Black deaf teacher before while growing up. So they were shocked, but then they think, I can be that. If they can do it, then I can do it. When kids see someone like them who has done it, then they have someone to follow in their footsteps. Look at the high schools. How many Black deaf teachers are there? Not many. In my experience, there were more hearing white teachers until I went to NTID. Teachers and counselors, I was shocked. I mean, a Black deaf counselor? Her name was Cheryl Ellen. She was the first female Black deaf who earned her PhD. Wow. I was amazed. She really impacted my life. I was only about 18 or 19 years old at the time, and I had never had a Black deaf teacher, and that motivated me for my future. I was exposed by the hearing culture and my parents, and they stayed on my case. I, but there was no identity as a deaf person. And the kids, they need the best of both worlds. And that's something important for the BIPOC to succeed. You must give them a safe place to succeed. Oh, yes, I agree. I agree. And it doesn't matter if they're hearing or deaf, put them both in so they learn how to survive and socialize with people. I agree 100%. Yes. Okay. So the last question. What is your best advice for our students about school life and their future? Learn as much as you can about your history. Most of our people, they learn so much about different things in history, but it doesn't match our identity. And it just seems like later on in life, they get lost and they question themselves, wanting to know, who am I? And they struggle. They struggle with that. So the first thing is know yourself and know your history. And the second thing is speak up. Ask for help. Ask questions. Oh, yes, yes. Don't just sit there and hold it in. Open up. Because the more questions that you ask, the wiser you get. If you just hold it in, then later on you'll be saying, I wish I knew the answer. Mm-mm. It's better to ask questions. You know, there's a famous quote. It says, those who ask questions are the wise ones. And that's because they learn so much more. Really, really. Yeah. I really appreciate that you took the time to give us so much information and to be here. And it helps other communities, but the BIPOC really need to know. And even if we don't know, helping people who are trying to be independent, thinking I can do it on my own. No, why don't you ask? And there is someone around who has lived longer than us, and they has the experience that can help us. That's really important. Oh, yes, yes. And my grandmother used to say this quote, get something in your head and no one can take it from you. Oh, yeah. And don't give up. That's what my grandmother used to say all the time. She'd say, get something in your head. I didn't quite understand what she meant, but she meant what you learn, then you know what you want. You can keep it in there and no one can take it from you. Oh, yeah. So I continue, don't give up. That is rooted in me from my upbringing. No matter what you do out there, if I know something, it'll help me. It'll help me succeed in my future. You know, if I'm out here and I don't know anything, that won't work. Oh, yeah. I appreciate this interview. It was the best interview, and I hope to talk to you again in the future.